Hi, everybody. Don't mind me just jamming along to this background track. I don't know why. I've been grooving along to this backstage for like several minutes now, and it's just been real catchy for me. Yeah. Hey guys, welcome to the More Video is the Future little seminar session for the AuthorTube Writing Conference. Thank you for Shannon and Margaret for giving me the opportunity to do this. I was unable to take part at all last year because things got in the way, and somehow I have managed to do it now despite all the chaos that has been going on. So thank you for giving me the chance to do this and to talk all things video. For those who do not know me, I see some new and old faces in the chat. So if you're old here, I'm sorry, but you're about to get my life story. No. I am Amy Rosenfeld. I've been in the book publishing industry for about 2 years now. I've published my first book back in 2021. Here it is. Shannon, I remembered to bring it this time. Because I forgot to bring it for the after party that I was at yesterday. But yeah, and then more so than my book marketing stuff, I have been involved in digital marketing with a specialty in video. And a little bit of web stuff as well, but video has been the main one. And the particular thing that I like to do is combine video content with social media and book marketing, which is something that, especially with the way that algorithms work nowadays, is something that we as authors can really make the most of. But then it gets a little bit difficult to work out what can be used when you haven't had the video experience that people have been studied in, like me. But I still like to use some of the easier tools. It makes my job easier. It helps me get stuff out there faster rather than spending 2 hours in Adobe After Effects trying to work out how to make text come up on the screen in a fancy way. So with that, I think I'm going to turn this music down a little bit, because if it's too loud, I'm going to be partying the whole time and not actually talking. But now I think it's a good time for us to get into my little presentation. That's not the one I want. We'll go with this. This seems like a good one. All right, so actually we need a bigger, it's technical. Hi, I'm Tiny. So, algorithms have been loving video a lot recently. Short form video has been the main way that this has come up. Short form video being on ways that are less than 30 seconds or less than a minute long. We've seen it pop up everywhere. First, it came from the social media platform Vine. Rest in peace. The social media platform that no longer exists for people who are less aware, and it was a platform in which every video was 7 seconds or less. And this ended up coming up in TikTok as it transformed from a dance platform into a multimedia sort of platform where people were able to voice their opinions in short amount of time. This started off as 15 seconds, but eventually it's grown and grown and grown. I think the most you can do on TikTok now is 10 minutes last time I checked. And yeah, wait, where is that comment? I remember seeing this comment. Richard, this is not going to be entirely out of TikTok. You can wipe the sweat off your brow. But since TikTok raised in popularity, every social media platform wants to be TikTok and wanted to do this whole short form portrait video content. You saw it on Instagram. You see it on YouTube with YouTube Shorts. You see it now on Facebook with Reels as well. Everybody wants to be TikTok. And the algorithms reward the use of the newer features. So when the video stuff ended up rolling out, the reason why your photo posts might have dropped in engagement was because they wanted the video platforms to get a boost, which is not easy for some of us, especially as authors, for one primary reason. A book does not move. It is static. You hold it up here. It's typically not holographic. It's just sitting there looking pretty. And the only way it moves is when you turn the pages. That is something that can get a bit difficult to work out how to best market it and work out the different kinds of tools that you can use to make your book move, so to speak. We're going to get into some of those tools and tricks now, starting with beginners templates and beginners tools. So these are three-ish kinds of tools that are very helpful in showing off your books in a way that is flasher through a video format. So the first one we are going to cover is called CapCut. I'm just going to make sure that we're sharing our screen for that. There we go. This is CapCut. CapCut is something that is usually used on TikTok, or it's integrated with TikTok, but you can export it anywhere. CapCut is a platform where you have video templates that are made. So all you have to do when you check out these templates is you go and choose one that you like. They have aesthetic ones, they have funny meme ones. This one, for instance, if I click on it, sounds weird. I that one. So basically, when you use this template, I don't use this much myself, but I'm very aware of how it works. Is for the case of this one, see that little Polaroid there? What you can do in this template is that you can replace that image with one of your own. So you can put your book cover there, or the thirst trap in your novel if you are a romance author, and then you can add that in there and choose from different templates that have places where you can put images or text, and you can just customize it to your own. So this is a very accessible way to be able to include your stuff for that. Quick question from Margaret, which I'll bring up now. Oh, not that one. Whoops. Does CapCut have templates for the videos that change frames every 0.1 second? Those had to be murder to make before. They were absolute murder to make before. You had to use the TikTok green screen, and then you basically just had to go like on your phone with the record button once you've chosen the green screen background, just like boop, boop, change image, boop, boop, change image. So yeah, the cool thing about CapCut is they do that for all bunch of different templates and like editing styles. So this is one that goes by quick. I should probably mute this before I get copyright claimed. So yeah, this is one, they've used Ballet as a template, but you could easily do that with aesthetic images from your collection to be able to make your different array. So thank you for bringing that up, Margaret, and I'm glad I spotted that just in time. So yeah, they've got a bunch of different templates. They've got the aesthetic ones like this, as well as the funny memes like this one here. Another template that we're going to cover, or platform I should say, that can be helpful for video is Canva. Now, a lot of you probably would be familiar with Canva just from the number of AuthorTube Writing Conference videos that have mentioned Canva as something to use. And it's mainly used or started off as a graphic making platform. But when you do use, for instance, a template or create one of your own, like I have here, you can then use the animate feature to do video. So it's usually this little thing in the corner that has 3 like circles fading out slowly. And then from there, you can choose either as an entire thing, or if you click on an individual item, you can choose how it would animate. And then it will give you little templates to do that. But here's something that not a lot of people seem to know. People often think that with Canva and making video, you can just limit it to one frame or one layout. But you can easily click here to add a page and create multiple pages to create your own little short graphic animation, which I think is fantastic. And then you can change the individual ways to click and animate per page as well. So for instance, this turns into, this is the first page. Some of you guys might have seen this on my Instagram if you followed me. Second page. And the third page. There's some very simple animation. It can be super effective, and then you can pop whatever background music you want. Canva has some background music options available, I think, but generally algorithms like it if you include your own bits of video beforehand. But honestly, just up to you for which ones that you would like to choose. Whether you want to go with the more stock image style, or you want to go with the recommended sounds provided by social media platforms. So that's Canva and that's CapCut. And then if we go back to our little presentation here, the other option that I've got here is, that's the iMovie logo, but quite often the video editing software provided by either your Mac or your Windows thing, I forgot the name of it, but they often have pretty decent movie editors for you to learn there. They are relatively intuitive to use and provide a lot of basic things to learn from there. It's how I first started video editing all those years ago. I didn't just start off with Adobe. If I did, I would have cried. I will admit. But yeah, these are several tools that beginners can use, and with the making of Reels and TikToks as well, the in-app video editing platforms can also be very useful. But these are the 3 I would recommend if you are a beginner starting this kind of stuff off. When we get into intermediate levels, these are the 2 currently that I'm recommending, but on one of them, I'm sort of on recommending. And that one is Adobe After Effects, just because the more I've used Adobe, the less I have wanted to keep it up, because it is very pricey if you only want it for a limited number of things. And just the interfaces can get a little bit weird and the kinds of things that you have to use and subscription fees. I am not that into subscription fees unless it's something that is really, really powerful. And admittedly, Adobe isn't one of them. Clipchamp, thank you. Thank you, Elaine, for clarifying that. Thank you. You are a trooper for Clipchamp. I haven't used Windows in a while. I'm currently on a Mac, but I will be converting to Windows as soon as this one dies out. But thank you for pointing that one out. I knew it had a name. So thank you. But yeah, After Effects, that's good if you want to get into more intermediate levels of the graphic thing like we've seen on Canva. And because I personally find it helpful with text because you can search up different templates and then it just animates them for you. And then you can adjust things very minutely to be able to do that and choose lots of positions. And furthermore, there's a lot of tutorials available on After Effects if you want to do something very specific. So for instance, you want to have a line that's drawn on the screen, and you can just Google a video on how to do that, and that will pop up. So that's good because of the vast range of resources, especially free ones, to help you out with a paid software. Then we get into a video editing software, a proper video editing software that even professionals use, DaVinci Resolve. It's the little rainbow looking one. Happy Pride Month, by the way. I don't know if DaVinci Resolve has any association with Pride, but rainbows, we love rainbows and Pride. So DaVinci Resolve is the editing software that I use, and I like it a lot because it is really good. It's free, for one thing. It's free to get the base model, and then if you want to get extras, you can pay, but I personally don't need to pay for it because what it provides in the free version is incredible. And it has a lot of different panels for you to be able to edit different things. I can show you actually, if I just share my screen again. Window. All right, so this is what DaVinci Resolve looks like. I'm going to shrink. So this is basically the main interface of DaVinci Resolve, where you have your footage, your timeline, and then you can get into different panels so that you have a specific place for a specific job. So this is what I like a lot about DaVinci Resolve, which is, so this is where you do editing, where you can add fancy effects by browsing through these couple tabs here, and you can save your favorites down this corner here. Then we have more advanced effects here. So if you want to get into green screening and other things, you can go here. Color correction, this one is a very nice. I usually use this area here so that the light, middle, and dark areas can look amazing. There's an audio editing area as well where you can adjust audio levels and add effects. And then, of course, there's a window for when you want to export and publish your video. They even have a special one for YouTube, which majority of us on here use to publish our stuff if you want to do video-based editing. And they have audio options as well in case you're doing some kind of podcasting, and you can do the video editing in here, and then you can have the audio so you can put it onto whatever platform supports which. So that's briefly what DaVinci Resolve looks like. But if this is daunting to you right now, do not worry. This is something that you don't need to use. But if you feel more comfortable with the beginner tools and you think, I want to try new things, these are the two areas that I would suggest for you to go. Yeah, and they're not crippling expensive. Editing tips and tricks. So I'm going back to my DaVinci Resolve here to talk about editing on a beat. So editing on a beat is simply when you hear a beat or drum or something in a piece of music that you have as the background. You can simply, oh, that scared me. So this is the area in my book trailer, which is the main example I have for this, where you can see this happening. So it's personally for me easier to spot these when I'm musically trained, but usually music is done in counts of 8, and so you can just change it whenever there's a certain count or a certain emphasis in the music. So in this little example here, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So that's just a very simple way to edit on a beat, and a way you can see that easier is with the waveform down here. So usually there would be a certain spike or pattern that you can see in the audio to be able to check out that little ping. And that's a very simple yet effective editing technique, which I stand by. Every time I edit a book trailer, I always use that technique. Going back here, working out when it's right to have breathing room. So if you're doing a bit more of a vlog or a talk to camera style pre-recorded video, working out when you have breathing room is a very important thing to do, so that you don't just talk and then have a giant pause before you go into your next sentence. This will vary differently depending on styles, attention spans, and audiences, because admittedly the younger audience wants that less and is more like pow, pow, pow. But just trying to work that out and work out what feels comfortable, even if that's just running through your video from start to finish to work out if you have enough breathing room between sentences. That can be very helpful. Cutting audio footage or footage in general using audio spikes. So this is a little technique that I use when I'm in the middle of recording a video. If I stuff up or if I finish a sentence, then I clap near the microphone. What that does is the waveform, the little lines at the bottom of the video, when you see that happen, a clap or some kind of a click or a distinctive short sound, it will come up on the audio waveform as a straight line. So that can be a very easy way to work out where to cut. You just look out for the spike and then you cut that bit of footage, and then you move on to find the next point that needs cutting. And then from there, you can easily work out what needs deleting, what needs not. You can even have some kind of code where 1 clap means keep this, 2 claps means get rid of this. A clap is a very easy way in your audio spikes to work out what is good. Finding your editing style. The way that this usually works is you look at what your favorites are doing, whether that's on OrthoTube or elsewhere in the video sphere, and just working out what you like and what you don't like and trying to adopt those things and learn how to do that kind of editing style. My favorites have always varied, and so it ends up becoming just a big amalgamation that just becomes my own thing by the end of it. Then we have the 5-second rule. So this is when you have text animating on a screen. This is sometimes called the 3-second rule, and it's not to do with food. I've seen a couple of people commenting on that. This is to do with the amount of time you should show text on a screen as a whole. If it's there for 3 seconds or longer, 5 seconds is generally safer, but you want to have your text on there for 5 seconds without animation for people to read. That is the time it will take for them to be able to look at the text and understand what it says without going, oh my God, what did it just say? This will of course vary depending on how long your text is, but 5 seconds is generally a good time to show that kind of stuff so that people are able to read everything on there. And then the final editing tip and trick I will say is customizing automatic templates. So quite often editing software will come with an automatic way that your text gets edited. And something you can really do to make it your own in a not hard way that you don't have to go to After Effects to do is just make slight adjustments to make it your own. So that could be changing a font, changing colors and sizes, just to play around with what options there are in certain templates, and you'll be able to create something your own. Where can you find footage if you can't film it? So this is talking about stock video, and there are 2 websites that I would personally recommend for video. The first I'm going to share with you is Pixabay. So that is the bright green one. I need to stop my sharing screen again and find that thing again. Here we go. Pixabay. So oh no, that's Pexels. That's the wrong one. Oops. This is Pixabay. So Pixabay, they also do images and music and sound effects. They do a lot. But in terms of videos, they've got a wide variety of things. So they have just regular videos. As you can see here, some lovely nature seems to be the main one that they use, but usually you can just Google keywords and you can find something that you like. But these are usually the more popular ones, is nature, because nature is timeless. But Pixabay has also got good green screening. So if you know how to green screen in your editing software or remove a green color, you can search in Pixabay for green screen effects. And then it has a bunch of effects here. So you can add some curtains, you can add a rhinoceros. I don't know why. They have some really interesting one. Ooh, this is good for us. Saw the tubers, a little subscribe pop-up. They have a bunch of different ways to do YouTube subscribe pop-ups here. As a cute little thing, you can use chroma keying or green screening to remove the green background, and that will show up. So when you are able to get into green screening more properly, this is a place I would recommend. And then the other one is Pexels. This one, they do video and photo as well, but the videos, what I really like about them is if you search up a certain topic, quite often a user will upload many different videos in the same environment. So you can make it look like you filmed it yourself because it's all taking place in the same area when really it didn't happen like that. So I think one thing that I did was fencing when I was searching up stuff for my book trailer. And you have all this different fencing stuff in different video formats and shapes. And these were all made, or a lot of them were made by the same people. So like these 2 were both made by Art and Podress. And you can check out user profiles and you can see different collections and different styles from there. So that's what those 2 platforms are really great for. I'm going to shrink again so we can talk about when you invest money. So a lot of the things that I have shared with you, aside from After Effects, have been little to no cost to get into. But when do you want to invest when it comes into video? The first area I would recommend is audio. People can forgive bad video on social media, but bad audio is a lot less forgiven. So if you are able to, the first chance you can, investing in microphones or finding a room or location with less echo and feedback. For my live stream stuff, I use a Blue Snowball microphone. It works out pretty well and it's not badly priced, but this will obviously depend on what you have available in terms of budgeting. For photos, phone cameras, they are constantly changing and evolving and upgrading. So consider this when you get your next phone. The back cameras especially, that's where all the upgrade normally goes in. Like literally on Friday at my work, in my marketing job, I realized how good my phone camera was and I was fangirling over it. But DSLRs, proper professional cameras, they're not bad as well. Well, obviously not, especially when you learn about the manual lighting, so you don't have to worry about what the weather is going to be like. You can just constantly set it, and then lighting to enhance your video as well. So ring light has been a more popular way that people change their settings. But 3-point lighting is my personal favorite. So 3-point lighting, as a brief thing, it's where you have one light sort of on the subject, one light at another angle and a different brightness on the subject, and then one from behind. So it's able to create, with these different lighting adjustments as you see fit, it can create very lovely lighting and shadows. But this, of course, is going to depend on many things. Editing softwares, it is better to upgrade something that is free than to pay for something from the get-go. You don't know what features you are going to need the most. So that's what happened with me in DaVinci Resolve. The free features, I use them all the time. The free features are plenty for me, and I don't need to upgrade to be able to enhance my video. So that's why I like DaVinci Resolve. Stock images and videos. So the sites that I did show you, they are free or donation. You can pay a donation to get them if you are able to, but there are also premium sites that often have a wider variety, such as Shutterstock. That's the main one. You don't have to go through 17 different sites and pay for them. If you want to get more premium, more better looking stock footage, and if you're in a position to, you're better to just work out one and then pay for that and train. Use that religiously. And then training to learn how to edit better videos. Taking classes through different platforms, such as a tertiary institution or stuff like Skillshare and Masterclass, or you can just YouTube video search. I prefer YouTube video if you're looking for something very specific to use. And then training, of course, you can use to learn about things for the first time. I learned about DaVinci Resolve for the first time at university, for example. So that pretty much covers what I thought would be good to talk about. We are now going to get into a Q&A. Who doesn't love a good Q&A? So I'm just going to go through the comments. If you have any other questions, I am going to get to them now. But put other questions that you have in the chat, and I will be able to stick to them. Lauren asks, should you stick to one platform like Instagram or TikTok, or use them all? With the way that video marketing is nowadays, it's very easy to move or have the same videos on multiple platforms because everyone wants to do the portrait videos that you see typical on TikTok, but I'd say limit what you have, because if you have too many open at once or too many that you use at once, you're going to be spending more time trying to balance the three. But Instagram and TikTok, that's a very easy one for video-based stuff because it's a similar algorithm with the way that video works and a similar format with the portrait video. So just work out what they have in common and then post on all three or two or what have you. So just depending on what you have available in terms of time, that's what I suggest you do. Oh, not a video related question, but when does ASTER'S CODA Book 2 release? Thank you for asking this. I'm aiming for next year. I'm very shortly, things have been very busy right now, so I've been putting this off for a while, but I'm very shortly taking it to critique partners, and once that's done, I will be asking for beta readers, so next year seems very, very possible. Live streams versus editing streams. Which works best for what purpose? Video live streams, I find, I haven't talked about them much on here, but StreamYard, that's a great platform to use. I'm loving StreamYard as like an interface and stuff, which of course I learned about through AuthorTube. Video live streams are good if you intend to interact with your audience. Because that's the main point of a live stream, is that it is live. Your audience is there all the time. If you're able to have that interactivity with like the Q&A, the games, asking them about things, then that can work very, very well. Especially when it's a longer form. Live streams are typically long form, and then edited streams, that can be good for short form, where you can take the highlights of a stream and you can put them on your platforms, and then at the end or in the caption you can say, you can check out the whole thing by going back here. Linking back is incredible. And then, of course, it depends on what you're more comfortable with. So if you're more comfortable with video streams versus editing, then just try and work out ways to best use that style. So making more interactive content if you're more comfortable with a live stream. And then if you're more comfortable with editing, making the most of the ways that you can edit to be able to show stuff off. Richard, will the stream also dive into OnlyFans? I wouldn't touch OnlyFans with a 10-foot pole. I'm glad you were kidding, but Instagram stories versus reels, which is better for you? It depends on your purpose. With the way the algorithm works, reels are better for reaching out to people, and stories are better for engaging with your current audience. That's the way that I understand the algorithms currently. So the reel side and I guess the TikTok side of things, that's been good for me to be able to reach out to new people. But stories, they're typically only seen by your followers. So you can make the most of both of them in different ways. And of course, you can repost your reels onto your stories to make sure your current followers can see them, because the algorithms get a little bit weird nowadays with what they want to show you. Yep, rest in peace, Vine. What's the most efficient workflow for videos? Example, film in TikTok, post to YouTube, share to Facebook, etc. I'd say what a lot of people do is that they edit in TikTok and then they post it onto other platforms, just because TikTok is the editing software that is best used for them. I've heard some people have liked the Instagram one better than TikTok, but of course this is very dependable on what you want and what software that you like using best. You could even edit it in an external software and then post it everywhere. So just whatever platform you are most used to editing on, then start from there and then share it where you think is good. It's a good idea that you choose which platform social media wise is your main and link people back to that. So like I said with the live stream example, you can do a live stream on YouTube or Twitch and then edit the highlights in a way that is appropriate to TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and other social medias. And then you can mention in the description that the full version is available on this platform. So I think that's the better way to do things, is linking back, because kind of less time. I think the thing I should have said before this is filming or creating content with the intention to use it in multiple different ways. So this is something that I want to get around to, but I haven't yet, has been with my own YouTube videos, posting the whole thing as they are, and then link little edited highlights that I can use on my other things, where it's just one of my tips or one of my points, and I put that on social media and then link back to saying you can watch more tips on my YouTube. Okay, you guys have been commenting a lot, thank you. It's so good to see so many people. We got Vixen of Fiction, Nia, my moderator Elaine, Margaret, Richard, yes, we got some love for DaVinci Resolve as well from Richard. And of course, you guys probably have some new comments. Yep, 5-second rule, also about picking up food dropped on the floor. I think it might be a wives' tale. A lot of the time, I just throw it in the bin as soon as it goes on the floor, because it's like, yeah. What fonts should we use? Yes, we mentioned in a previous live stream in the chat about fonts. Readability. That's the main thing you want to worry about with videos. The style of them, it doesn't really matter, like serif, sans serif, that doesn't really matter. But with video, especially with the 5-second rule and how short a time it should be on the screen, then do what's readable. Readability, no matter what your font, should be your top priority when it comes to showing font on a video. So this means usually avoiding a font that is thin, and sometimes like super, super bold. It's very much a kind of balance. So, and of course, depending on what colors as well in terms of your fonts. So some colors on top of others don't work well. So usually you have like the most typical ones is white on black or black on white. But even when you get into like different colors, that can be really weird. So my suggestion is usually to stick with either a white or a black font and then work out whether it looks good on whatever color background that you have. So if you are straining, or if you show it to someone else and they are straining or finding it difficult to see, choose another option. Color on color is usually a risky business when it comes to font color choices. Yeah, Helvetica is a safe one generally. Yeah. And yes, Bebas Nue. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I know the exact one you've meant, Richard, and that's another good one to use. It's big, it's bold, it doesn't have over fancy stuff. Canva Pro is good for stock video. Oh yeah, they do have some stock video as well. Yeah, so if you're editing in Canva, you can just get stock video directly through there. I just like saying Helvetica. It's a good thing. Yeah, it's a good word. Pixabay is good to use for promotional purposes. Yeah, stock video, if you're able to find the right ones, they're usually good for promotional purposes. Even just using them as like backgrounds, and then you have like background and then book and then animated text coming up with either like a quote or a review. That's a very simple way you can make a video using stock and Pixabay type stuff. Yes, phone versus DSLR. As I was saying before, a phone has got very good sort of stuff, and then the DSLR is also good, but for me, I personally prefer using a DSLR because a camera was made for camera stuff, and so it's got all the camera things that you need. If you want to do more advanced stuff with your phone cameras, such as manual-based lighting, you often have to buy, usually for under $10 on the App Store or Google Play, an external app that sometimes doesn't even cooperate with all phones. It all depends on what like your lens setup is. But if you want to get into more masterful stuff using a phone camera, then you can get apps to use. But that's, of course, is going to depend on your phone camera yourself. So just because I've been trained with a DSLR first, because I didn't have that good of quality phones growing up with my cameras, that's really reflecting my age. The DSLR was a better option for me, also as a photography and media studies student. But phones, they're not too bad, so it's just going to depend on what resources you have available. Are Pixabay and Pexels safe for use on YouTube from a licensing point of view? Yes, absolutely they are. So sometimes you will have to be careful and like maybe mention in the description when you use them. But usually with these things, they give you a Creative Commons license, so you're allowed to use them however you want. But that's a good point to mention, is to check your stock sites and what their licensing is, and this could even vary between users. Oh yes, good point here from Joe as well. All platforms are pushing vertical videos right now. Instagram and Facebook Reels, YouTube Shorts. Yes, so just keep in mind your aspect ratios as well. Long form stuff like live streaming and YouTube, they like the landscape, and then portrait is what they're liking here. So I'm going to post in the chat right now the aspect ratios, because I forgot to mention them. So for landscape, you want a width of 1920 and then a height of 1080 pixels. And then for portrait, it's the opposite, which is a width of 1080 and a height, I should say, of 1920. So quite often in editing software will give you the option to choose your width and your height, and you can do it through there. Interesting. Instagram is more accessible than TikTok for those that are blind. That is really good to know. Absolutely. Yeah, and then... Ooh, yes. I can help you with some video services. So if you have any kinds of help of editing, then you can just contact me directly. I used to be on Fiverr, but due to my workload, I haven't been able to do it as much. But you can talk to me if you ever have any video services. Thank you, Elaine, for posting that out. Question: a lighting app. This isn't something you really use apps for. You don't need lighting rigs to normally do that. So like ring lights, they normally come in cheap, or what I often used to do some flasher lighting setups was I literally just used all the lamps in my house. I literally used lamps. So you don't need to go to a video store to find a fancy lighting rig to do that kind of stuff. You just need to have lights, and you need to know where to set them up. Yeah. If we have any more questions... Oh, wait, I need to second this. A Lord of the Rings themed conference. I recently gotten into Lord of the Rings, been into it for under a year. Yes, I know, the shame. I'm a fantasy author, and I didn't get into Lord of the Rings until last year. But even just a fantasy one, I think that would be fun. So I second that notion. But yeah, if we don't have any more questions, you can always pop your questions into the regular comments once the live stream's up, and I will be able to answer them and maybe even make some more videos surrounding this kind of stuff, because I recognize I brushed through everything at the speed of light because there is a lot to get through. But if you ever have any suggestions for any kind of content that you want to see video-wise, on this channel, then please let me know. I love getting your suggestions. Check out my interview that I did with J.M. Chaley. Walking orcs. We mentioned Lord of the Rings there, and this quote came up. All my author interview series, we've had so many iconic moments, and this is one of them from my very first episode. Thank you for that throwback. So oh my gosh. Yes, and thank you, Elaine, for the links in the chat for my books. Well, I should say book right now, because I've just got the one, but the second one next year, if all goes well, which it kind of hasn't so far, but if it goes well from now on, next year. And so share your feedback. Let me know what you liked about my presentation and other presentations in the AuthorTube Writing Conference. I haven't looked at many because I've been sleeping in and been really busy, but the ones that I have seen have been absolutely phenomenal. And yes, there will be more interviews, Lauren, and I can totally do some video tutorials with little bookish themes. I can absolutely do that kind of stuff. Maybe even do more little live streams like this. So yeah, thank you guys for coming to this little session, this little webinar session on the AuthorTube Writing Conference. If you're watching in the post show as well, hi, thank you. You can pop your questions down in the comments and I'll be able to get back to you and provide more video content surrounding this. You'll see a bit more of me today for the AuthorTube Writing Conference. I'm going to be popping over to the happy hour and then popping back to my channel to do a little after party. Yes, We're gonna party here. I'm gonna bring that track up, and I'm going to force all of my hosts to dance with me. You guys in the comments, if you're gonna come to the after party, can score points based on dancing, and I will try not to overthrow them. So yes, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to give this video a like if you haven't already, and I will see you in more AuthorTube Writing Conference videos. Quick little plug as well before we go do that. Next week, I've mentioned my book a few times. Next week, we're going to be starting book birthday celebrations. It's 2 years since that book has been out, and we're going to start doing some celebrations and some stuff from next week's video onwards. It's a special one next week to start off, so be sure to stay around for that. But aside from that, thank you all for coming. And I will see you soon in 10 minutes for the after party. Bye, everybody. Bye.